Hello everyone and welcome to the video. For this video, it'll be the 1-year review on my 2015 Lexus RC350 F-Sport. So yeah, I've had this car for a little over a year now. I got it on June 30th of 2023 and I've put about 10,000 miles on it so far. And I know I just did a full tour on this car, but since we crossed over a year, I obviously have to do the 1-year review on it. It's been a great car so far, and I've had no issues with it at all, and I've absolutely loved it. It's been my daily driver for the past year now. And for those of you that haven't seen the other videos on it, I do still have my 2009 Lexus ES350. I just keep it in a storage unit now. For those of you that don't know, this is the first generation Lexus RC350, which was introduced for the 2015 model year, and it's still in its first generation for the 2024 model year. I'm not sure if 2024 is the last model year for this generation, or if 2025 will be the last model year, but these have been on the market for quite some time now. I personally think they have aged extremely well, and they really haven't had very many changes over the almost decade that they've been on the market. And obviously 2015 was the first model year, so this is the first model year of this first generation Lexus RC350. So yeah, this generation hasn't seen a whole lot of changes throughout the almost decade that it's been on the market. I'm not sure if they're going to redesign the RC or if they're gonna replace it with a different car or what they're gonna do yet. Yeah, so 2015 through 2018 stayed about the same. Back in 2019, they did a facelift on the RC350 with front and rear styling changes, very slight changes, and some updated tech on the interior. Then back in 2022 or 2023, they updated the tech again and updated the infotainment system a little bit, made it a touchscreen and all that stuff. So basically from 2015 to 2024, this generation RC has seen very little changes, and there's not a whole lot of difference between a 2024 model and a 2015 model. I'll insert a picture of a 2024 model and you'll see what I mean if you don't know. Looking at the inside, it does have the beautiful red leather interior. I think the spec looks really, really good. The white exterior with the red interior. I really do like it. We'll go ahead and fire it up. It does still say maintenance required because I haven't gotten the oil change yet. I'm finally getting that done on Tuesday, thankfully. But yeah, interior still looks great. Everything still looks great over the past year that I've had it. This thing is in pristine condition. I was really surprised when I first looked at this thing. It's got over 121,000 miles. And if you didn't know that, you'd never guess it had that mileage. It looks brand new in here, and on the outside, it's in really, really good shape too. Looking at the headlights, it does have HID low and high beam headlights, incandescent turn signal, and an LED daytime running light right there. LED fog lights down below. This thing looks really, really good for 9 years old and 121,000 miles. It was really well taken care of before me, and obviously I'll take excellent care of it too. I have been. And I just really love the styling of these things. I think, like I said before, it has aged extremely well, and the styling still looks really good even though it's been on the market for almost 10 years. I really do love the look of the LED taillights right here. I think it really looks awesome. It does have incandescent turn signals and reverse lights, backup camera down there. And this is the all-wheel drive model. That's one of my favorite things about it. I really love having an all-wheel drive vehicle, especially in the wintertime. It does have an upgraded exhaust system. It's all so dirty right now. I need to wash this car. But yeah, upgraded exhaust exhaust. It sounds pretty good. I wish it was a little bit louder though. I might fix that eventually, I don't know. You do have LED turn signals in the mirror and blind spot monitoring right there. Looking under the hood, the RC350 is powered by the 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, which puts out 306 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. Gas mileage is not wonderful. The EPA rating says 19 city, but I only usually get like 16 or 17 in the city. It's not very good at all. Has a 17-gallon gas tank, so the range is not great either. It has like 300 miles of range with how I drive, and I usually just do in-city driving. Obviously, these engines are bulletproof reliable and will last hundreds of thousands of miles with little to no issues at all. And it is hooked up to the 6-speed automatic transmission. As I mentioned in my full tour video, the all-wheel drive models are hooked up to the 6-speed automatic transmission, but the rear-wheel drive models are actually hooked up to the 8-speed automatic transmission. So I'm not really sure why they both didn't get the 8-speed, but that's the way it is. It's really not that big of a deal. And 0 to 60, the best I've gotten is 5.5 seconds, which for a vehicle of this weight is not terrible. This thing weighs about like 3,900 pounds or something like that. It's a really, really heavy vehicle. But yeah, these are actually heavier than the Lexus IS350s, which is kind of surprising since the IS is a 4-door, but the RCs are just really, really heavy vehicles. I'm not sure how much heavier they are, but they definitely are heavier. Looking at the door panel, you do have some nice padded stitched leather material right here. Automatic up and down windows on both sides, three-person memory seat, and a little bit of door storage down here. And yeah, like I said, the interior has held up really well. I really love the look of this red interior. Looking at the gauge cluster, one of my favorite features of this is when you press this, the gauge moves. And then when you put it in sport mode, which is right here, the gauge turns white. I really like the look of that. Got your climate controls down there and your infotainment system right there. The infotainment system isn't that great. It's decent enough. Then once you put it in reverse, it does display a rear backup camera. And LED interior lighting right there. Only 2 cup holders, which is one of my few complaints that I have about this car. The storage in here is not great at all, but that's to be expected with a coupe like this. Heated and cooled seats down there. I really don't have any complaints with this car at all over the past year other than the lack of storage, and I wish the fuel economy was just a little bit better, but it's really not that big of a deal at all. Love the look of the analog clock right there. And then down there, it does have traction control off and snow mode. Looking down here, you do have the remote touch interface to control the infotainment system that everybody complains about, but I've actually found it to be not that bad. Looking back here, to access the rear seat, you just unhook the seatbelt from this little buckle right here and then pull this back there. And you have a very small back seat. That's where I have the seating position to drive, so I'm not very tall, so another short person sitting behind me would maybe kind of comfortable for a short period of time, but other than that, these back seats aren't really the most usable and would definitely start to get uncomfortable on long road trips. We'll go ahead and take the car on a little drive. This parking garage is so handy for videos, but it's only available on Saturdays and Sundays because that's when this place is closed. But since it's so windy here in Kansas, that's kind of my last resort on windy days like this. So that's why I filmed on the inside part of the parking garage today. But yeah, not really a whole lot to report on the car over the last year and since I last filmed it, which was the full tour video. Hasn't given me any issues or anything like that. It's been a really, really good car as expected. It's been a really, really good car as expected, and I'm sure it will continue to be. Plan on daily driving this for a really long time. And despite being on the market since 2015, this thing actually does still turn some heads, especially in this town that I live in. There's actually only 3 other RCs in this town. There's a newer RC350, there's mine, there's an orange RC350, and then there's a yellow RCF, which is really cool. I've seen that one a few times, but I don't see them very often at all. So yeah, we're only 4 of them, including mine. There's only 4 total in this town. There's actually only been about 54,000 units from 2015 to 2024 of RC350s that have been sold in the US, so not a very high production number at all. So these things are really not that common, and even in big cities you don't really see a whole lot of them, which I kind of like that. I kind of like the rarity of them. People in this town do not drive fast at all, and they are literally dead center in, oh my. I'm assuming that's an old person. So we'll go ahead and go around them on the right, in the right lane, because that's just life, I guess. But yeah, very little to no complaints of this car, and it's just been awesome. I really do love it. I wanted to make this video more exciting and have more to share with you guys, but I just did the full tour on this car not that long ago, and like I said, it really isn't much to report on this car over the past year, but I had to do the 1-year review, obviously, because that's what I've done with all the cars. Got it with around 111,000 miles, and we're at a little over 121,000 miles, over halfway to 122,000 miles actually. So I've put about 10,000 miles on this thing. So for me, that's a lot, but in general, that's not a ton of miles, and 121,000 isn't really super high for a 2015, and it's not high at all for a Lexus in general. These things will last hundreds of thousands of miles with little to no issues at all. So yeah, not a whole lot to report on this thing at all. I've definitely enjoyed having it over the past year, and I'm looking forward to many more years of owning this thing, and I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing it. If there's any videos of this car or any of the other cars in the family fleet that you want to see, anything specific, let me know in the comments, and thank you guys for watching.